Good morning, everyone. Good morning and Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
I'm going to say something real quick. We have a full house today, so if there is an empty seat in your row, will you make a new friend and scoot over and fill in the gaps so that we have lots of seats available for all those who are still coming in to join us. Fill in those seats, if you will. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Jeremy Anderson, and I'm the Executive Director of Judaism Your Way.
Yay.
And we are thrilled to have you here with us this morning at the Denver Botanic Gardens. I have some very important announcements before we get started, so if I could just get your attention for a few minutes, and then our services will begin. For those of you with us who are here under the tent in person, we really want you to be able to focus today on having a meaningful holiday experience while you're feeling safe and secure. So we're really grateful to the Denver Police Department for being here today with us, keeping us all safe. We also have a wonderful team of EMS professionals. If you have a medical emergency, they're in red shirts right back here in the tent. Give us a wave, guys. Thank you so much for being here. You'll also see that we have a team of volunteers who can help with any questions or issues. Look for anyone wearing a blue vest, and they can help guide you and direct you this morning. So to help keep everyone safe, we invite you to keep your belongings as close to you as you can. And when I say belongings, I'm probably talking about your kids too. So we hope that you'll keep them close, keep an eye on them, so that everyone can stay safe. If there is a weather or medical incident or emergency, you can wait to hear some announcements from the stage on what you should do. But if there's some type of security incident, don't wait for an announcement from the stage. We encourage you to get up and move to safety as quickly as you can, all right? Okay, so we really strive to be an open tent here at Judaism Your Way. And we really want to make sure that everyone finds a physical space that meets their needs. So there's reserved seats kind of right up here up front, and we can bring in some more if needed so that you can see our ASL interpreter. So grateful to Topher for being here with us today. You can also see Topher on all the screens at the bottom left corner. There is accessible seating spread throughout the tent. There are benches around the lawn for anyone who might be immune compromised. And again, if you have any other seating needs or accessibility needs, find someone with a blue vest and they can help point you in the right direction. We also invite you today to manage your personal comfort. We know these services can feel long, and although it's a glorious, beautiful day, it is going to start to feel warm. So you're free to get up, stretch, get water, use the restrooms. There's space in the lawn behind you. There's space inside Mitchell Hall, which is a building right back here that is air conditioning, climate controlled for anyone who needs that. As you do that, we ask that you do not move any chairs, and that you really respect the gardens. Stay on the designated walkways. Do not sit or climb on rocks. We're so grateful to them for hosting us, and we want to be respectful of that, and I hope you'll model that for your children as well. Okay, while you're here with us, if you need to download the Machzor, there have been links that are up on signs and that are on the screens right now. Also, at any time, you can go to jewishhighholidays.org, and there you will find downloads of every single Machzor for our services. You can live stream them at your home if you're not able to be here. And you can also watch replays of all of our services and feel the inspiration and the magic all over again. All right, if you all would take a moment, you might have your cell phone out. If you don't, if you will check it and make sure that it is turned to silent. Check those Apple Watches, any device that you might have that might be a disturbance to you or to others around you. Even those of you online watching us, I encourage you to take a moment and turn your cell phone off so that you can be present with us in this space and with yourself. Okay, for the first time this year, important announcement, everybody. Listen up. This is a brand new thing, totally different. For the very first time this year, we heard from all of you in many of our surveys that you wanted more opportunities to connect with other people after our services. So at the end of the service this year, we're actually trying to create and facilitate a moment where you can deepen connections and get to know other people like you who are part of our community. We're calling these affinity groups. And they are based around geographic location or people who are in a similar stage of life or people who identify in the same ways. If you're interested in participating in those, when you go to leave the tent this morning and you walk out this way, instead of going right to leave, I invite you to take a left. And you're going to see some folks holding up large signs. They might say Boulder. They might say newlyweds. They might say LGBTQ. They might say lots of things. And just identify a group that you might want to connect with others. And there is a space for everyone because there will be a sign that says anyone and everyone. So find a sign that resonates with you, and you will have a moment to engage in conversation, to break some challah with folks, and to build connections with others in our community. Okay, so those are all of the logistic announcements I have for all of us who are in person. And for all of us watching right now, virtually, online, across the country and across the world, I just want to say how excited we are that you are sharing your holidays with Judaism your way. So you've hopefully seen that our theme for this year's services is welcoming the new and the now. And while you'll notice that this theme is woven into our services over the next 10 days, you may also notice that our organization is welcoming the new and the now. We're welcoming the now because this year we are celebrating our 20th anniversary. Yay! That is very exciting. That's 20 years of holiday gatherings for high holidays, Passover, Hanukkah. It's 20 years of offering hundreds of programs, classes, and workshops for our community. We have officiated thousands of life cycle moments like bar mitzvahs and weddings and baby namings and funerals. We've grown into a national community and a true home for Jewish belonging. And just as we're celebrating the now, we're marking this special anniversary by welcoming the new. So perhaps you've noticed on the signs as you walked in, on your machzors, or on the screens that you're seeing, and even those watching you online at the top of the screen that you're seeing, but we're thrilled today to share with all of you Judaism Your Way's new logo, colors, and an updated visual identity to mark our 20th anniversary. You know what they say, new year, new you, right? So we got a whole new look, and we're really excited. I hope that after services, you'll take the time to check everything out on our completely updated website as well, www.judaismyourway.org. So thank you for being here with us. Many of you have been here for the last 20 years. Thank you. And hopefully all of you will continue to join us even for the next 20 years. From our entire board and staff, we wish you all a meaningful holiday season and a beautiful new year ahead. Shana Tova, everyone.
Shana Tova.
Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova, everybody. We are going to get started. We're on page 4 of your machzor with a welcoming opening song by Garrison Starr. And hat tip to Miriam Kapner for introducing me to this amazing Judaism Your Way mantra and anthem. It's call and response. So I'll sing the call, and then y'all are on the response. I had nothing to my name. You took me in, and loved me the same. And ever since then, every chance I get, I try to pass that love on to someone else who ain't got nothing to their name. Everybody, hallelujah. story, sing your song, come together, we all belong. You built me a bridge, and all I could see, was a river to cross, too wide for me. And ever since then, every chance I get, I've been building that bridge for somebody else who ain't got nothing. Ooh, we all cross over. We all cross over. Hallelujah. Come together. Bring your burdens. Come as you are. And tell your story. Sing your song. Come together. We all belong. Come together. We all belong. Come together. We all belong. Shana Tova. Welcome everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Double holiday. I'm Rabbi Karen Aviv, and I'm Rabbinic and Program Director of Judaism Your Way. I'm joined here by my amazing colleagues, Rabbi Amanda Schwartz, Rabbinic intern and musical guru Dan Yolis, Rabbinic intern Melissa Hoffman. So raise your hand if this is your 20th year at Judaism Your Way High Holidays, and keep your hand up. That's amazing. Now, raise your hand if you've experienced High Holidays with Judaism Your Way at any time in the past. Yay! Keep your hands up. And raise your hand if this is your very first time with Judaism Your Way. Yay! We are so glad that you're here.
Baruchim Havaim, your presence is a blessing. We are so glad to welcome you here at the Botanic Gardens and from the comfort of your own homes. I want to introduce some other amazing people up here on the stage supporting us today. We have ASL interpreter Topher Breuer, Ed Contreras on percussion, Zoe Maff on bass, Gabe Mayer on viola, and Spencer Zweifel on piano.
Woohoo!
This year, we're focusing on the theme of welcoming in the new and the now with music, prayer, and poetry. It's such a blessing to be together with you here at the gardens and online.
At Judaism Your Way, we strive to create as inclusive a Judaism as possible. That means that we see you at the center of sacred Jewish space. We welcome you, and we affirm and honor you in all of who you are.
Over the past 20 years, we've learned that some people feel included and spiritually connected when they get to experience classic melodies in liturgy, often that they remember from their childhood. We also know that some folks find these classics to be a barrier to inclusivity, spirituality, and joy.
We hope that you experience the right balance of welcoming and the familiar. If something was missing for you, we invite you to offer us compassionate feedback on the survey that we'll send out after the holiday.
No need to kvetch.
But please do fill out the survey. It's very helpful if you fill out the survey, even if you're not offering compassionate feedback.
Yes.
I believe it's constructive, but compassionate. We are so delighted to have so many allies and beloveds at Judaism Your Way High Holiday services. And we know that sometimes the high holidays can be a lot.
So in the spirit of recognizing and appreciating that we all come to this space through different journeys, I would like to call up board member Eric Sonderman and Tracy and Katrina Eric and Tracy's daughter, to offer gratitude for our allies and beloveds, and that is on page 5 in your Mahzor. And you hold it like an ice cream cone.
This is so special for me to offer this reading. 20 years ago, as the non-Jewish partner, I started participating in Judaism Your Way because I felt it was important for our family as descendants of Holocaust survivors. In other places, I felt reluctantly included. But here, I feel not only accepted, but honored. So this is for all of us beloveds and friends in interfaith families. We welcome and appreciate all our loved ones and allies who share in building Jewish life together. Thank you for loving Jewish people as partners, family members, and friends.
Thank you for standing by Jewish people, especially when we feel scared and anxious about our safety, belonging, and enoughness in this country. Thank you for putting up with the challenging patterns we inherited from our ancestors.
It's a thing.
We know it can feel confusing and frustrating sometimes.
Didn't realize she had the laugh line. Thank you for walking with us to raise children with Jewish culture in a world where that's not always easy. We see you, we value your presence, we appreciate all the gifts you bring to our families and communities. May you feel blessed in this space.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Modeh or Moda Ani is a prayer that thanks our Creator for returning our souls back into our bodies upon waking up in the morning and us getting ready to live another day. When we sleep, I imagine our souls rising from the physical world, entering the cosmos, then dancing and conversing with our ancestors and other celestial souls of the universe, creating our dreams, and then drifting back down into our bodies before we wake. Whether it is with the words of this prayer or not, it is important to experience gratitude in the very first moment of our day before letting in all of those thoughts, telling us what we need to do, what we haven't done, what we are dreading, and what we're excited for. This little taste of morning gratitude can have a profound effect on how we approach the day to come. So please join us in singing Modeh Ani on page 5. Modeh Ani lefanecha Ruach Chai v'kayam Modeh Ani lefanecha Ruach Chai v'kayam Shehechet zartavi Ishvati Shehechet zartavi Ishvati Bechela
our Shabbat Alive leadership team to help us with this next prayer. We're about to sing a modern version of Hine Ma Tov, which comes from the book of Psalms and talks about how important it is for us to be together. This year, Judaism Your Way's Disability Awareness and Inclusion Team, also known as DIAT, is focusing on the theme of connection and belonging. In this version of Hine Ma Tov, there's a line that says, "You can make it alone, but just so you know, we leave no one behind." This year, the Surgeon General released an advisory that we are in an epidemic of loneliness. So, can we make it alone, like this song suggests? Maybe, but it's probably not in our best interests. And to the point of we leave no one behind, there are so many isolated people out there that if each of us committed to checking in on one person, surely the world would be a much better place.
Amen.
And we could make an impact on this epidemic of loneliness. So as we move into Hine Ma Tov, I encourage you to think about what are ways in the coming year that you might be able to connect with someone who you might suspect might need some connection in their lives. We're on page 6.
We come from a tale so long ago,
Passed on by the waves and the winds,
we made it this far together, you know. Come, brothers and sisters, let's sing. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Come gather around and hear the song. If you're the wandering kind, you can make it alone, but just so you know, we leave no one behind. Our mothers and fathers who've weathered the storms, grew strong in the trials of their times. Sweet brothers and sisters, door by door, carry on with this song in our lives together. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. 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 We'll sing out this song for years to come, in a story without an end. For how good it is to be among our brothers and sisters and friends. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'Manayim, Shevet Achim gam yachad.
So, prayer isn't about changing an external reality or changing anyone else's mind. It's about opening up our minds and ourselves to change. And even though it isn't a substitute for action, It is, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel put it, in the light of prayer that we who grope, stumble, and climb discover where we stand, what surrounds us, and the course which we should choose. Prayer makes visible the right and reveals the hampering and the false. In its radiance, we behold the worth of our efforts, the range of our hopes, and the meaning of our deeds. When we gather together in prayer, sometimes it's in our collective voice that we find our own. Let's open our minds and hearts to the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, on page 6, and please rise if you're able.
Together in harmony.
Ahava Rabbah, our next prayer, means boundless love. Love without beginning or ending. And it's about how we're deeply loved by so many from the moment we first emerge into the world. We're loved for all of our strengths and challenges, in all of our abilities and limitations. Ahava Rabbah reminds us that we can tap into connection and belonging simply by showing up fully in our lives as our authentic and unique selves. So please join us for Ahava Rabbah.
I would like to call up Jeanette, Jennifer, and Colin to lead us in a Shema meditation.
Go for it.
Shema Kavanah. When we come to a doorway between the risky world and our safe home, we might believe these are two separate worlds. So we pause at the doorway to remind ourselves, Shema Yisrael.
When we come to the doorway in time between our rising up and our lying down, we might believe these are two separate worlds, and so we pause at the moment to remind ourselves, Shema Yisrael.
When we look at our hands and experience our eyes, we might believe these are two separate worlds, the world of observing, the world of doing. So we pause to remind ourselves, Shema
Yisrael.
When we come to the boundary of our own cultures and communities, we might believe these are two separate worlds, the worlds where everybody speaks my language, as opposed to the world of those foreigners out there. So we pause at the gateway and remind ourselves, Shema Yisrael.
When we look beyond all human life to all beings who share this planet, mountains and rivers, ozone and oak trees, beetles and krill, we might say they live in an utterly separate world beyond us, and so we remind ourselves,
Shema Yisrael.
And when we come to that final doorway, whose other side no one has ever seen, and we might think that the world of life and the world of death are two utterly separate worlds, we pause at that doorway to remind ourselves. Shema Yisrael. Shana Tova, everybody.
Shana
Tova.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
The concept of love that we find in the Ve'ahavta is one of loving through action and acting out of love. This always struck me as an important choice and ways to live out Torah. We could simply do things in this world from a place of fear, which isn't ideal. Parents in the room might know this feeling. You can get someone to do something, but getting them to do it from a place of love and ultimately trust, and not from a place of taking away something as a consequence, is a big deal. So it has also massive payoff, because when we come from a place of love and trust, we also have an easier time doing the things that are best for ourselves and for others. So as we chant the Ve'ahavta, I invite you to think about the actions you do out of love and trust. What makes that possible? Where can you infuse something you do on a regular basis with more love and kindness and compassion in the upcoming year? And what would it take to do that? Let's join in the Ve'ahavta on page 9.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shalchtecha u'b'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'hisharecha.
I'd like to call up my friend and a source of inspiration, Bex Kagan, to offer a beautiful Rosh Hashanah poem about standing at the portal of new beginnings.
We stand together on the precipice of the new year as it is about to unfold. What joys and sorrows will it hold? As we turn, return, and relearn our sacred purpose, may we strengthen our connection to the source of all. May embarking on a journey of repair and reflection, soul searching and introspection, help us hear and answer our call. May this be the year we choose to live our lives fully, with passion, perspective, purpose, and promise. May the traditions and teachings of our people be an ongoing source of strength and inspiration. May we listen to the still, small voice within and may the unspoken prayer of our hearts be answered and fulfilled.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Please join us in Mi Chamocha on page 10.
Shiviti is a very special verse in Psalm 16, reminding us to be mindful of the presence of the divine as we go about our day, week, month, and year. When we live in such a way that we are aware of being a part of the greater collective, it empowers us to be mindful of how we act, and we may be more in tune with the magic and subtle happenings around us. And we've already got them up there. Talia and Avi Safer is joining us for singing Shiviti, which is on page 11.
we're going to go into the silent meditation. And for our Amidah prayer, we invite you to settle in with the words of the Machzor prayer book, if those help you feel spiritually anchored. Trisha Arlen reminds us in that poem that there are many ways to call and understand the divine, that there is a holiness in this moment of feeling connected to ancestors, whoever those ancestors may be for you, and of knowing that the future is filled with hope and possibility. Please rise if you're able for the Amidah. We're on page 17 for Ose Shalom, a prayer for peace. Ose Shalom Bimroma, Uyase Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase Shalom, Yase Shalom,
like to invite up Fran Taffer, Ian Kieran, Asher, and Sylvan to help while we're taking out the Torah. One of the things that we've been working on at my house over the past year is helping my children find the right language to use in moments when emotions are running high.
Oh, yeah.
For example, what might you say when you are feeling upset or left out or out of control instead of showing it with your voice or your body? Maybe some of you are working on this too.
Yes.
So the 13 attributes are essentially the language that the divine instructs Moses to teach to the Israelites whenever they mess up and when they are calling out to be forgiven. So please join us on page 18. And please rise. We'll sing it through in Hebrew, then English, then Hebrew.
Am I giving it to you first? Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum ve'Chanun, Erech Hapayim, V'rach Chesed ve'emet, Noser Chesed le'alafim, Noser Avon v'Feshta, V'chatzah v'nakeh, Havaya, Havaya, compassion and tenderness, patience, forbearance, kindness, awareness, bearing love from age to age, lifting guilt and mistakes, and making us free. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum ve'Chanun, Erech Hapayim, V'rach Chesed ve'emet, Noser Chesed le'alafim, Noser Avon v'Feshta, V'chatzat v'nakeh. Thank you so much, and you can all be seated. And can I give you the Torah?
Of course.
Thank you so much. Ooh-ah. So Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. Every January 1st, many of us make New Year's resolutions. And here are some I'm going to share with you that I have made over the years. Vulnerability. Next year, I'm finally going to meditate for 20 minutes every day. Next year, I'm going to quit scrolling through social media when I feel bored. Next year, I'm finally going to go to the gym 3 times a week and lift weights and get ripped. Next year, I'm finally going to quit doing XYZ that's not good for my health, like biting my nails or eating Trader Joe's almond peanut butter pretzel nuggets or dog chocolate peanut butter cups when I'm stressed out. Okay, I'm embarrassed. Raise your hand if you have ever made a New Year's resolution. Okay. Raise your other hand if you've ever made a New Year's resolution that didn't stick for very long. I see you. I get you. The truth is, it takes a lot of effort over time to change our habits and behaviors. And if we don't see the immediate rewards of a new habit or a behavior change, it's really easy to get deflated and lose motivation. So I hope we can all practice compassion for ourselves because we're human. And the truth is, long-term change can feel hard. So this morning, before we begin our Torah service, I want to talk briefly about resolutions and habits and change, not only because I am personally obsessed with the topic, but also because it's in today's Torah portion. And it's an interesting Torah reading to consider for where we are right now in the Jewish calendar, right at the beginning of the year when many of us are reflecting on the past year, bringing spirituality into the present moment, and considering how we might become our best selves in the future. The Torah portion comes from the fourth book in the Torah, called Numbers, or Bamidbar in Hebrew. The Israelites, formerly enslaved in Egypt, they've been wandering in the desert on this epic road trip towards their homeland. And they've received some important teachings about how to live as a community with freedom and with a sense of responsibility for one another. So based on their experiences of oppression in Egypt, they've also had the chance to put into practice how to create a just and ethical society based on the values of compassion and care, a community that cares for the vulnerable and the marginalized. Today's Torah portion was written by the author called P, who was a priest in the first temple period about 2,700 years ago. P focused a lot on the ideas and the practices of holiness, or what could contribute towards a life of spiritual connection to what is most sacred. And in the reading we're about to hear, P introduces the concept of a person of any gender called a Nazir in Hebrew. A Nazir is a person who makes a spiritual intention to feel closer to the sacred source. In Hebrew, setting an intention, whether spiritual or not, is called a kavanah. Be mitzvah students, raise your hands if you've ever heard of this word, kavanah. Yes, you have. So, according to scholar Moshe Harbatal, a kavanah implies focus and clarity, concentration, and sincerity. It's not just a rote recitation of something. In other words, a kavanah is about making a commitment to doing something with feeling and with purpose. So a Nazir would set a kavanah to be closer to the divine. However, there is zero explanation in the Torah about what words a person might say to initiate a spiritual intention if they wanted to feel closer to the source. Anybody could do this. You don't have to be literate. Didn't matter what your gender or your status was in the community. This spiritual practice was open and available to anyone. Once a Nazir sets a kavanah, they would avoid doing certain things for a certain period of time. So in Hebrew, the word mitzvah means the actions we take or the actions we avoid to strengthen important relationships. For example, positive mitzvah, telling the truth, even when it's hard because we care. And the opposite of that, lying, is a negative mitzvah. Don't do it because we don't lie to people we care about. And lying diminishes our relationships, our integrity, and our trustworthiness. The whole goal of a Nazir, set a kavanah out loud, avoid doing certain things. And here's where resolutions about our habits. Good habits, positive rewards or results. Other habits, like scrolling through social media platforms, sometimes negative results, like comparing ourselves to other people. The results, or the reward, for a Nazir is all about deepening that connection to the source of being, and it's not accidental that P wrote about this because his major preoccupation was spelling out all the ways the Israelites could take on sacred practices that deepen connection to the source. So today we're going to learn about 3 habits that a Nazir would avoid. These things all revolve around setting boundaries that were different from ordinary life. They created some kind of distance, social distance, spiritual distance from other people in the community, and that brings up feelings of vulnerability. Not doing these things I'm about to describe was a really big deal because biblical Israelite culture was so communally oriented. Also today. Our practice, or one practice, was to not eat or drink anything related to grapes. Grapes and wine and drinking alcohol were and still are, in many cases, a way to celebrate joy. And so in Jewish culture, we raise a glass on Shabbat, the day of rest and pleasure and connection. We raise 2 glasses at a wedding, and we raise a glass to celebrate other happy occasions. For a Nazir, not drinking wine was that way of creating distance spiritually and socially from celebratory gatherings in service of feeling closer connection. And I imagine it would probably bring up lots of feelings of loneliness and vulnerability. Another practice, no shave or a haircut. And not cutting your hair or shaving was a sign of setting yourself apart from the group, because you would look different from other people, and that might make you feel vulnerable. Third practice, which is wow, was no physical contact with dead people. I know, 2,700 years ago, people had much shorter lifespans, and contact with dead people was much more a part of everyday life than it is today. And so taking on this vow meant creating certain boundaries in relationship to that circle of life and death. And that meant not going to funerals or participating in mourning practices, which could feel lonely and vulnerable. The last section of today's Torah portion is at the end of this discussion of spiritual resolutions. It is all about rewards and blessings. It's also one of the most famous blessings in Jewish sacred literature called Birkat Kohanim, or the priestly blessing. In this section, the divine speaks directly to Moses, telling him to have Aaron, his brother, the high priest, and all of Aaron's sons, the Kohanim, to bless the Israelites. So in the Torah and in the First Temple period in Jerusalem, when the text was written, the Kohanim, they oversaw all the offerings and the gifts, the sacrifices, the barbecue for God that was offered to the divine. God loved barbecue in 6th century BCE. This blessing was about receiving love and protection and grace and a sense of shalom, peace and wholeness from the divine for our spiritual efforts. And there's an ancient practice of the Kohanim to cover one's head with a talit and to close your eyes and spread your fingers out like this. This letter, or this sign, creates the letter shin with your fingers, which is the first letter of the word shalom, which means wholeness and peace, and it ends that blessing. Do you want to all try it right now? It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's awesome. So I always teach this. Leonard Nimoy, who played Spock in Star Trek, I know, came up with the Vulcan salute after growing up watching his ancestors offer this blessing. So there is a beautiful teaching in the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim in Hebrew, that the Shekhinah, the divine feminine presence that dwells inside of everything that is alive, the Shekhinah is peeking out between the fingers of the person who is offering the blessing. And when we give or receive this blessing, we can feel a powerful sense of connection to the source, to Shekhinah. And the truth is, feeling that sense of connection often leaves us feeling really vulnerable because we feel moved by a sense of awe. There's another extraordinary teaching from the Zohar, an important mystical text written by Moshe de Leon about 200 years before the Jewish expulsion from Spain. The Zohar says, we learn that when the priest raises their hand in blessing, the people are in awe, and they know at that time, a time of goodwill prevails throughout all the worlds. During this time, the upper and lower beings, so like angels flying around and people on the planet, are blessed, and there's no judgment among them all. That is the time when the most ancient and the concealed is revealed in the small faces, our faces, and peace prevails in awe, in all, and awe too. So it's not a stretch to think about the priestly blessing as an ancient and magical Jewish incantation of blessing and peace and wholeness. I call this rabbinic Shazam. And it's a reward for setting a spiritual intention and practice. So what does all this have to do with our lives today? The Torah is offering us a beautiful, ancient example of what contemporary neuroscientists call a habit loop. Intention, called a cue. Engaging in certain actions meets vote, that's the behavior. And experiencing a result, a blessing. Because honestly, if there is no blessing or reward, why do the thing in the first place? And how cool is it that our ancestors 2,700 years ago were thinking about the ways we could improve our lives with spiritual intention and practice? I hope that this resonates with you in some way, especially on Rosh Hashanah when we're reflecting on the new year. So here are some questions to consider as we move into our Torah service. What might it look like to set some spiritual intentions for the coming year? What practices might you take on, manifesting those intentions in your life? And finally, what blessings, what rewards might flow from those intentions and practices to infuse your life with more meaning, more purpose, and most importantly, more joy? My blessing for you is what we're about to hear in the Torah. So I invite everyone to close your eyes and open your heart as I offer you this blessing. If you're wearing a talit, you can cover your head, and if you'd like to set your hands out, blessing, receiving, giving, holding them up, peace and wholeness, please do so. I'll sing the Hebrew and translate the English. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ken Yehi Ratzon. May the divine bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka Ken Yehi Ratzon. May divine radiance shine on you and offer you grace. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the divine indwelling presence of Shekhinah lift her face to you. May you be blessed with peace and wholeness. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be so. So we are going to move into our Torah reading. And I'd like to call up Erica and Sophia to help us move the Torah table. Our Torah reading is 3 parts. Each part is called an Aliyah, which means to ascend. And the idea is when you participate in the ritual of taking an Aliyah, you're essentially like Moses going up to Mount Sinai to receive blessings of Torah. So for each Aliyah, hang on one second, I will announce a theme. And if that theme applies to you, please feel welcome to ascend in your seats because COVID and safety and liability, and remain in your space and offer those words of blessing. And then I will offer a blessing at the end of each Aliyah. Thank you so much. Okay.
Rabbi Karen, before we move in, I just wanted to tell everyone quickly about this quilt, which we're using as a tablecloth. This was made by, I think last year, so you can put it down now if you want, Open Tent B Mitzvah class. Each student made a square to represent sort of their Torah or their relationship to Judaism. And so now we have it here to kind of actually read Torah off of on the words of our art of some of our past students. So if anyone is interested in our Open Tent B Mitzvah program for middle schoolers, we actually only have a few spots left. And we're also launching an adult Re and B Mitzvah class this November. We do have an application for that, and we anticipate having more applicants than we can take students. So if you are interested, please fill out your application very soon. I'll be teaching an in-person class, and Rabbi Karen will be teaching a class online.
Yay! So today we have 3 Torah readers who are all Open Tent B Mitzvah alumni. Yay! Can we all give a yay for that? So I'm going to call all 3 of them up here to help out. They are Talia and Sophia and Naomi. Come on up. And they are amazing Torah readers. So in the beginning of our Torah reading, Moses is having a chat with the divine. This first Aliyah is about anybody who has been thinking about setting an intention or saying vows for the coming year that are important to you. So anybody, Ya'amod, Ta'amod, Ya'amdu, which means I'm calling you up. If you're thinking about making promises for the new year, please stand. Okay. Come on now. So you'll find the blessings on page doodly-doo on page 18. And we'll say them all together. 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. And Naomi, can you hold that side? And you can put it right here. You got it. Oh, hold on. Can somebody hand me the mic? Thank you, Robin, for handing me the mic. Do-do-do-do-do. Here you go.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amata alehem. Ish o isha ki yafli lindor neder nazir lechazir Adonai.
Where am I? Miyayin. Yep, you got it.
Miyayin veseher yazir ham chometz yayin vechometz secha lo yishte.
Mishrat
anavim lo yishte ve'anavim lachim vivashim lo yohel.
Beautiful. I'm
looking for it.
Hang on, I'll help you right there.
Kol yemei nizro mikol asher ye'aseh migefen hayayin michatzanim ve'atzak lo yochel.
Yasher koach. That was amazing. So here we'll close that up, and we will say, hold on while oh my gosh, I'm doing 20 million things at the same time. I'm going to offer a Misha Berach, but we'll say the blessing following the Torah reading first on page 19. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Mishaberach Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, v'Hagar, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, Ruach haOlam. Just as you provided guidelines for our ancestors to make sacred promises for closeness and connection, may we all be blessed to set meaningful intentions for this coming year and throughout our lives. To all of us who have come close to Torah on this day of Rosh Hashanah, may this new year bring each of us clarity about the intentions we yearn to make, the strength to honor those commitments through our practice, and receive blessings that flow from those vows. May this be our blessing to ourselves and to the world. Amen.
Amen.
You can be seated. Yay, Talia. Our second Aliyah is about all the things we avoid doing to honor our intentions and strengthen a relationship with something important in our lives, especially when those things might be difficult. So maybe you want the strength to not do something like, I bite my nails. And it's a bad habit that might get in the way of following through on a promise. Maybe you need some support in moving towards new habits that serve you better than the old habits that don't. So if any of this applies to you, please feel welcome to rise in your seats or on your feet, embody your spirit, and offer words of blessing for the Torah reading. We are on page 18. Baruchu et Adonai Hamborach, Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. So I'll hold the mic. You don't have to do two things at the same time. We are, hang on, Yochal. So we're on Kol Yemei. Got it? Deep breath.
Amen.
Kol Yemei.
Kol yemei. Kol yemei neder nizro ta'ar lo ya'avor al rosho ad malot hayamim asher yazir la'adonai kadosh kadosh yihye gadel perase al rosho. Kol yemei
La'aviv ulimo. Hang on, al rosho. Where are you? Rosho. Yes. La'adonai. Hold on. Al rosho. No. La'aviv. Hang on. There it is. La'aviv ulimo.
la'aviv olimo la'achiv ula'achoto
Lo
yitameh lahem bimotam ki neser Elohav al rosho.
Beautiful. And hang on, I know it's very nerve-wracking. Kol yamei.
Kol yemei nizro kadosh hu la'Adonai.
You did it!
That's
Amazing! So we'll say the closing blessing, and then we'll receive a Mishaberach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Mishaberach Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah v'Chagar Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the source of all that unfolds in the universe bless you for coming closer to connection with ancient wisdom of the Torah. May you feel strength and determination in choosing away from patterns and habits that no longer support you, in service of new choices that do support your intentions. May this be your blessing to yourselves, to all of us, and to the whole world. Amen.
Amen.
Sit down. Yay. So in our third and last Aliyah, this is the receiving of the Birkat Kohanim. This Aliyah is for anyone, actually everyone, who wants to receive a blessing of love and peace and wholeness for the coming year. Who doesn't want that? So if this resonates for you in any way, please rise in body or in spirit. And we are on page 18. 1, 2, 3. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu im kol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Amen. Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el Aharon ve'el banav lemor. Kol tevarhu et bnei Yisrael amor lachem. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Ken Hiratzon.
Ya'er Adonai banav elecha v'chunecha.
Ken Hiratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
Ken Hiratzon.
V'samu et shemi al bnei Yisrael ve'ani avarchem.
Yasher koach. Beautiful. We'll say the closing blessing. I think it's on page 19. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Mishaberach Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah v'Hagar Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the source of blessing bless each of you for deepening your connection to the wisdom of the Torah. May you experience blessing in all of your intentions and commitments. May you receive an overflowing abundance of blessing through practicing acts of love and compassion that honor your most important intentions. And may you feel a sense of shalom, wholeness, and peace in that sacred effort. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
Y'all can be seated.
We have now arrived at the point in our service where we extend our prayers and loving energy to those who are in need of healing. to those who have a broken heart, who are sick, who are grieving, and are otherwise in a difficult place in life. We invite you to picture that person or people you would like to send a blessing to, and imagine warmth and comfort surrounding them as we sing Healer of the Brokenhearted together.
Sophia Drake again. She is going to lift the Torah. And if you could rise. So every year in open tent classes, I teach my students how to lift Hagba. Did I surprise you? Oh, sorry. You can do this. My bad. Oh, 'tis the season for forgiveness. But you know how to do it. Ready? Pull, squat, lift, turn around. And then squat on the way down.
Biggie.
You've got it. All right. And then we're going to sing Vizot HaTorah. It's a custom to show your pinky if you want to do that. Oh, totally. You've got this, girl. All right. Ready? Squat. Down. Yes. Vizot HaTorah Asher Sa Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai That was
Please
amazing.
join
You can
us
sit down.
in singing Eitz Chaim as we put the Torah away.
Yay.
We're on page 23 if you want to follow along.
Eitz Chaim li lemachazim kiba etom lecha merusha teracheva
transition into a part of the service that's special for this holiday. It offers us a kind of special connection with ourselves and perhaps a greater power to remind us to return and reset and hold intention for this upcoming year. I would like to call up Kai Lumen to introduce this liturgy with a poem called Place Yourself by Trisha Arlen.
Yeah, there you go.
Place yourself in front of the fear. Your actions will be accountable, and one day you will not be here in this form. Place yourself in the center of the universe. You earned that spot just by existing. Place yourself in relationship to the source, however you understand and connect with, or don't understand or connect with the source. Place yourself on the path of holiness and joy and truth. Bless and be blessed by Hamakom, the place where we find ourselves.
Amen. Thank you, Kai. Unatanak Tokef is a powerful spiritual wake-up call for the high holidays. This prayer, written in the 11th century in Germany, reminds us that we can't predict or control the future. We only ever have the present moment. But we can meet the challenges of life in each moment with humility and compassion and resilience, and through repairing our relationships, praying for the kind of world we want to live in, and right action. Unatana Tokef is on page 24, and we'll begin with the Hebrew. And what we'll do is this side of the room, you are going to say on Rosh Hashanah, it is written, and we say that whole paragraph. And then on this side of the room, your every deed counts. And then all of us together, so if not now, when?
Shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol damaka yishama, u'v'shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol damaka yishama.
On Rosh Hashanah, it is written, on Yom Kippur, it is sealed that this year people will live and die, some more gently than others, and nothing lives forever. But amidst overwhelming forces of nature and humankind, we still write our own book of life, and our actions are the words in it, and the stages of our lives are the chapters, and nothing goes unrecorded ever. Together in Hebrew.
U'v'shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol damaka yishama, u'v'shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol damaka yishama.
Every deed counts. Everything you do matters. And we never know what act or word will leave an impression or tip the scale.
U'v'shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol damaka yishama, u'v'shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol damaka yishama.
Everybody together. So if not now, then when? For the the things we can change, there is teshuva, realignment. For the things we cannot change, there is tefillah, prayer. For the help we can give, there is tzedakah, justice. Together, let us write a beautiful book of life for the Holy One to read.
Shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol dmamata yishama, u'v'shofar gadol yitaka, v'kol dmamata yishama.
I'm going to call up Christina and Joshua to offer the Shofar poem by Devin Spear.
The sound of the shofar calls to us from the realm of ancient longing, which, though seemingly back there, is actually here. In the moment we remove the veil of forward and back and decide instead to face life as it is. Yes, all of it.
New moon, new year, and morning. Each of these like a note in the chorus of our living, daring us to listen to the power of the blast, and with all that is in and around us, to receive each moment as a life-giving gift and symphony of awe.
Please join together on page 25 for the blessing for blowing the shofar and Shehechianu, bringing gratitude for arriving at this moment. And we have our shofar blowers assembling.
Where's Alan Cutler? Where's Alan Cutler?
He's right.
Okay. Oh, there you are.
The blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. And the Shechianu, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
The mitzvah, the commandment of shofar, is that all who are capable should hear its blasts, its broken-hearted cries. To what end might this collective act of listening be leading us? What greater purpose? The old shofar prayer text states that the divine source hears the sound of the shofar with the attribute of mercy, or chesed. Mercy being a kind of mixture of loving kindness and forgiving of failings. I'm going to invite all of us now to imitate that and to listen with mercy. Thank you. I didn't know that was funny, but you're right.
It is.
And you know, if I blow one of these blasts, I'm just going to blow it again, so hopefully better. So please listen with mercy to the shofar and also those that are in your life, those that are here in this space with us together, all of existence, and no less importantly, listen for yourself, please.
Tekiah. Shavarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shavarim Teruah. Tekiah.
Tekiah. Shavarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shavarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shavarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shavarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah Gedolah. Dry. Whew. Yes. Picture for the ages. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
In light of Dan's talk last night, which any of you, if you didn't get to hear it, you should be able to go back and watch the recording. Dan was talking about senses, and in particular the sense of smell. And I just had to share. So I listened to a teaching by one of my former teachers yesterday, and she shared that she makes the intention of closing her eyes when she listens to the shofar, really to focus on hearing it. So I decided to try that this year, and it was very powerful. But what I didn't expect was that I actually could smell the animal fragrance of the shofar, which I don't think I've ever noticed before, even being this close all these years. So the amazingness of the scent of smell.
And kind of an ew.
It's not the best smell.
I think there's something really impactful, though, that this is not something we do every day in our lives. We don't go around blowing a shofar. You might hear other instruments every day of your life, but the fact that we're blowing this very ancient instrument that connects us to our ancestors and also connects us sort of to the animal world, I think is really powerful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So we are at Avinu Malkeinu on page 26, and it is a classic high holiday prayer that imagines the divine in many different visual metaphors from nature and our own relationships. I invite you to call up a memory of when you felt spacious and open and expansive, and remember how feeling nourished in that openness nourished your sense of hope or peace. That's actually the feeling underneath the words and the music of this prayer. Please rise if you're able, and this side of the tent, you will say with me the English that is not indented, and this side of the room, you will say with Rabbi Amanda the words that are indented. Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Vaneinu, Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Vaneinu, Vaneinu. compassionate one, our just one, forgive us for the sake of your name.
Our rock, our redeemer, renew for us a good year.
Our rescuer, our hope, help us find courage and hope within us.
Our mother, our life's breath, remove from all your children disease, war, famine, exile, and destruction.
Our divine presence, our soul, forgive us and help us forgive ourselves for all of our wrongdoing.
Our help, our guide, may we return to you in wholehearted repentance.
Our friend, our beloved, remember us with favor.
Our God, our leader, accept our prayer in favor and with mercy.
Our mother, our life's breath, hear our voices, show us mercy and compassion.
Our divine presence, our soul, inscribe us in the book of reconciliation.
Our eternal one, our redeemer, inscribe us in the book of merit.
Our friends, our beloved, inscribe us in the book of good life.
Our creator, our guardian, be gracious to us and respond to us, for we have too few good deeds. Act toward us with justice, tempered by love, and help us. Together in Hebrew. Avinu Malkeinu, Vaneinu, Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Vaneinu, Vaneinu, Ki ein banu masi. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed,
You all may be seated. I'd like to call up Sarah and Kunj and Bodhi if he's still awake. Okay. Oh my gosh, did he sleep through the shofar? Wow.
All right.
They're going to be sharing about their experience with Judaism your way. And Sue and Dawn, in case you thought I was making ridiculous faces at you this morning, I promise it was just because their baby Bodhi was right behind you. And I think he might be the cutest baby I've ever seen. Also, at one point, he was chewing on a little shofar. Oh, you didn't have to wake him up.
You got it. Oh my God.
Oh my
the
gosh.
cuteness. I can't stand it.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Sarah, and this is my husband Kunj, and our 7-month-old son Bodhi. We found Judaism your way through our friend Josh Pollack after moving to Denver from New York a few years ago. Being a part of a Jewish community has always been important to me, as well as a constant in my life. So I was excited to be included and check out what this unique organization was all about. The first High Holidays service we attended spoke to both me and my husband so deeply. From the use of music, we are huge music people, to the beautiful location, we are also big nature people, to the compelling messages put forth throughout the service. We loved the interpretations of traditional texts for modern times, the focus on core values that are similar to ours, and the trading of shame or guilt for compassion and love for oneself and others. Attending services at Judaism Your Way over these past few years has become a treasured tradition of ours, and the last couple of years we've even found ourselves leap keeping the changing aspen trees immediately following services, which is always a very special way to kick off the new year. Having these traditions in this community feels comforting as we make our way in the world living across the country from our families. Speaking of family, this year has been both the very best and very worst for ours. 2 months into becoming new parents, my father suffered a devastating heart incident in April and ended up passing away in June. He and my mom were actually about to head out to Denver from New York for Bodhi's baby naming ceremony, led by Rabbi Amanda, when it happened. Naturally, we postponed the ceremony as we navigated the subsequent months, going back and forth to New York with a brand new baby. Eventually, we decided to revisit the ceremony as we knew that was what he would have wanted. Rabbi Amanda was so wonderful to work with. She suggested we incorporate my dad into the ceremony in some way, so we used his talit to wrap around ourselves and Bodhi during prayers. She also had many recommendations for non-traditional ways to welcome Bodhi into the world, such as walking him into the house ceremoniously with music playing, washing his feet, and writing and reciting our vows to him. We also hung a mezuzah on our front door after working with the rabbi on adding some text inside that resonated with us. The whole experience was incredibly special and powerful during a particularly tough time in our lives. I hope, like me, you are inspired by the work of Judaism Your Way, and especially by today's beautiful service. To keep these services and experiences, Judaism Your Way needs your support. Please join me in making a contribution today. You can make your gift by scanning one of the QR codes on your machzor, filling out a donation envelope and dropping it in the donation box, or by going to their website at judaismyourway.org. Thank you, and Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Oh my God,
Thank
so
you all
cute.
so much.
I just want to eat him.
Bye, Bodhi. I'd like to call up Alan and Ray for musical support on this next piece. I also just want to, this is a bit impromptu, but last night I shared a tradition of Joshua Pollock's that he likes to hang on to the machzor after services, so in the future he can look back when he needs a bit of a spiritual boost. And after that, Jamie came up to me and said, I do the same thing, and I've kept every single one. And Jamie has been coming all 20 years. So much so that she told me she had to divide them between 2 different spaces.
Oh.
And then another person said they do the same thing. So I'm so pleased to report that last night a lot of you took us up on that, and you took your machzor home. And we would love for you to do it again today. For those of you who didn't take one, please take it with you. I was just thinking about it. I think I'm going to keep one in my car. And in moments when I'm feeling particularly stressed about traffic, not while I'm driving, I'm going to open it up and read something and hopefully have a little bit of this spiritual moment to help calm me down. So please take them with you. So we are to the point of V'hashevota. And the root word of this prayer, V'hashevota, it's the same root as teshuva, one of the central words of the high holidays, which means returning. So often we miss the mark accidentally simply because we've gotten off of the path of our good intentions, and we just need to return to what it was and who it is that we really want to be. So before we begin singing, I want to invite all of us to think of one way in which you would like to return or do tshuva to get back to your best intentions or to your best self in the coming year. Does everyone have an example?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So please hold that example in your mind as we sing V'hashevota.
V'hashevota
I would like to welcome Miriam Kapner up to share a Kaddish poem by Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg.
The Kaddish is about opening the window. Not looking through the glass, but opening the window. The window of the heart, the window into not knowing. Opening the window on fear and love. Opening the window on time and space. Just that. Opening the window to the moment that is just this. Opening the window to the name, the great name. No name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
If you are in a period of mourning or if it is your tradition, we invite you to rise if you are able for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 29. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma tivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dikusha b'richu le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
You can all be seated, and may their memory be a blessing. So we are coming in for a landing on our Rosh Hashanah journey together this morning. Just an FYI, if you would like to meet people in affinity groups after services that Jeremy talked about, and continue building this amazing community with challah, please look for volunteers outside the orangerie next to Marnie's Pavilion, or Orangerie if you're from New Jersey. I don't know how to say it. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here this morning and lifting up your voices in song and prayer. We are so grateful to our staff, our board, our amazing musicians. Yes, AV and tech folks for making us sound so darn good. Our volunteers, our community readers, Topher, and each of you for bringing your full selves and making this magic happen. So from all of us at Judaism Your Way, we bless you with joy and shalom, wholeness and peace for the new year. And join us in Shana Tova melody, our wish for the good new year. Shana Tova.
Shana
Shana
Tova.
Tova. And you can get up and start schmoozing. It's fine. It's fine. L'shana tova tikatevu, l'shana tova tikatevu, l'shana tova tikatevu.
L'shana tova tikatevu,
l'shana tova tikatevu, l'shana tova tikatevu. One more time, vocals.
Go for it, Ed.
L'shana tova tikatevu, l'shana tova tikatevu, l'shana tova tikatevu.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Everybody. Shana Tova. Thank you so much.